Hello my loves, today I've got a Valentine's Day in mind as it's soon going to be here. So today's tutorial is to show you how to make this gorgeous hair bow. And as you can see, these loops, I thought they resembled like hearts. So yeah, I thought this just made a cute little Valentine's bow. So I've added the glitter tails to this. You could do it all ribbon, but I just thought that the glitter tails brought out the glittery heart in the middle and also the hearts on the end of the streamers. Again, you don't have to add these, but I thought that they just made a lovely addition to the bow, and children love these. My little girl did, especially when she saw this bow. It was such a novelty to her. She was like, oh my god, Mum, I want that bow. Yeah, they love anything like that. So yeah, let's get on to making the bow. So I've already got my ribbon cut here. And I've also got these glittery hearts here. These are what I used in the centre of my bow. I'll just grab that to show you. I got these from my local craft store. I just saw these and thought, oh, they'll come in handy. And obviously I used the smaller ones for the streamers and the larger one in the middle. I actually freehand cut some of these on the streamers because I wanted different size ones on the bottom. So yeah, I did freehand cut some of these. So if you're confident enough to do that, you can. But I will try and link some of these stickers in the description below. As with everything that I use in this tutorial, I will link everything in the description below so you can find all of the products. So in this tutorial, I'm going to go for a hot pink ribbon. And with the hot pink ribbon, I thought the silver would look really nice. So yeah, instead of doing a matching colour, I thought we'll do a contrast one this time. So I've got my ribbon cut here and the silver hearts ready to make our bow. So for the main part of the bow, you will need 4 pieces of ribbon, and all 4 pieces are 4 centimetres wide or 1.5 inch wide, and they are cut to 15.5 centimetres in length or 6 inches in length if you prefer to work in inches. I've got another piece of ribbon here, and this is 1 centimetre by 11 centimetres in length, and this is enough to wrap a 45mm clip, which is what I'm using today. So this is optional, you don't have to line your clip, but this is just something that I like to do to cover up the clip, and yeah, it just gives it a nicer finish. And the ribbon I'm using to do this is exactly the same colour as the ribbon for the main part of my bow. If you don't have a 1 centimetre wide ribbon to match your bow exactly, you can cut these strips from your 4 centimetre wide ribbon. Yeah, and then just make sure you heat seal all around the edges where you've cut it. So that is my clip half lined ready. I'm going to now set this aside ready for when we need to attach it to the underside of the bow. I've got another little strip here. This is 1 centimetre by around 5 to 6 centimetres in length. I'm going to use that little bit to wrap the centre. You'll see when we get to it. I've got a needle here threaded with some thread. I haven't got an extra strong thread here, so I've doubled this up just to give it some extra strength. I've also used a lighter to heat seal all of the raw ends of my ribbon. This will just help prevent any fraying and get rid of any existing frays. So as you can see, I've already made 2 of my loops here just to save time in this tutorial, and I'm using the 1 continuous piece of thread here. So I've made my first loop and gone through that one, and then I've made my second loop and gone through there, and now I'm going to continue with the 3rd loop. So taking this piece of ribbon, I'm holding it facing upwards, so the natural curve of the ribbon is facing up toward me. It don't matter too much. And then we're going to fold in the left and the right side down diagonally. So folding the left side down diagonally at a right angle, and then the right side down diagonally. You want to line up the raw edges at the bottom so you know that they're central. And then you don't want to overlap them in the middle. You want them to be just touching. So lining it all up in the middle and at the bottom. So you should end up with this lovely little point at the top there, like that. Next we're going to fold this right side in half. So taking this right side, we're going to fold this piece here in half. So just to the middle where they touch. Making sure it's in line, and then we're going to fold this up toward the back. We're going to meet those 2 inner corners up with that point in the middle. So this point here is in line with those 2 corners, like that, keeping it pinched together with my thumb and finger. We're now going to fold in this left side. So now folding this left side in half and lining it up all around those edges. So it looks like that. And then we're going to fold this piece up toward the back also, again meeting those two inner corners up with that point, so they're just touching at the back. So this is the point, and all of these corners are all meeting up in the middle with that point, not overlapping them, just touching. So it looks like this. You've got that love heart shape starting to take shape. And now grabbing our thread, which again is still attached to those other two loops. So we're going to continue on with this piece of thread. We're going to make 8 stitches across this raw edge, 4 in each side. So going in through the top corner for our first stitch. Don't pull it completely tight because obviously we're still attached to those other loops. And then coming up from the bottom toward the top for our second stitch. And then back in through the top toward the bottom for the third stitch. And then our fourth stitch is going to come up through these two corners, and you want to come just through the middle fold of that point. So as you can see, I'm not catching the fold, I'm just coming up through the middle of the fold of that point. Pull that all the way through and then go back in through that fold, so in through the middle, through that fold, in that point, and then catching those other two corners on the left side now. So that is now our 5th stitch. It gets a little knotted up when you double up the thread. That's the only trouble with using doubled up thread. So now we're going to mirror this side, so coming back up through the bottom toward the top for our 6th stitch, and then back through the top toward the bottom for our 7th stitch. And then just pull that again, because again the doubled up thread is getting in a tangle. And then our final 8th stitch is going to catch those last two corners, and we're coming up from the bottom toward the top, and then pull that all the way through. Make sure it's not in a tangle like mine. So this is what it looks like. You can see that love heart shape starting to form now. And now we're ready to pull this thread up to the other two loops. So you're going to pull it tight until it forms like a pinch, but don't worry too much about that now because we still need to add our 4th loop. So the 4th and final loop, again that natural curve is facing up toward me. I'll do this one a little bit quicker, folding the two sides in diagonal, making sure they're touching in the middle and in line at the bottom. Fold the right side in half toward the middle, lining it up and then bringing it up toward the back, lining it up with the point, keeping it pinched together whilst we work on the left side now, so folding the left side in half, lining it up, and then folding it under and toward the back to meet up again with the middle point. And then keeping that pinched together, we can then grab our thread and do our 8 stitches in this piece. So fast forwarding now, I've already done those stitches and now I'm pulling on the thread to pull in the pinch along all of those loops. And now we're going to join those all together. So pulling it tight so you've got a nice cinch in the bottom of all those loops, and then on the underside, keeping it pulled tight in place with my thumb and finger, I'm going to go through the first side I made, so where the knot side is, I'm going to go through that side and back through the last edge where the cotton is coming out to join those two edges together. Again, pulling it nice and tight. This is why I doubled up the thread, to make it nice and strong so I can get a good pull on there. And then wrapping it around the centre a few times just to ensure that that nice cinched bottom doesn't come loose. And then once I know that's nice and tight and secure, I can then seal this off by going in through that thread on the underside. Before I pull this needle completely tight, I'm going to go through the loose loop a couple of times to form a knot so I can trim off the excess thread. So I'll grab my scissors and trim off the rest of the thread now I've got that all nice and secure. And then when you turn this over, you can see those lovely 4 love heart shaped loops Next, taking my silver chunky glitter hearts, I've got this chunky glitter fabric also which matches, and I'm going to show you how you can actually cut out your own hearts freehand. So if you haven't got these stickers, this is an option for you. So you want to cut out a square of fabric, and then you fold that square of fabric in half like that, and then you cut out a half of a heart shape. So I just do this freehand. So yeah, just cut out half of a heart shape, and then when you unfold it, you have this lovely symmetrical heart. I am using these tails for my bow, so it's the double layer pinch bow, and the tails for these, they measure 4 inch across and they work out a perfect size for this bow. So yeah, you can use any tails that you like, but if you've got one similar to this, which is around 4 inches, yeah, that is ideal for this bow. So I'm now going to draw around this template on the back of my chunky glitter silver fabric, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So I've got it all cut out here now. This is what they look like, and we're ready to now attach these to the underside of our ribbon bow. So as you can see, they're a perfect size, being 4 inch wide tails, and they just frame this beautifully. So adding my hot glue to the middle of my tails, and I like to add a little bit to those edges as well, just to make sure all of those loops stay in place. And then picking up my bow, making sure it's the right way, so making sure I've got the stitching going down the middle, and then I'm going to lay this on here as neat as I can, and then once I know I've got it neat and lined up, I can then push that down into the glue. I don't want to smush it too much to flatten my loops. So this is what it looks like so far, and now we're ready to add our hair clip. So taking my 45mm double prong clip that I already lined earlier, as you saw, with that matching ribbon, I'm going to put the glue on the front part of the clip and then attach that to the underside of the bow. And now for the fun part, to add the streamers. So I've got 2 pieces of ribbon cut here, and this ribbon is 6mm wide, or around 1/4 inch wide. And this piece, I did actually cut these by hand roughly, but this is just to show you 11 inches or 28 centimetres in length. And this one is a little bit shorter, at 7 inches in length, or around 18 centimetres. So that's 2 pieces, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold these in half to make 4 different lengths of streamers coming from the bow. So if I just show you on the example, as you can see, they're all different lengths, and I just think that gives that a really nice look. So what we need to do is take that centre strip that we cut earlier, and we need to just glue down one side. So we're not going to fully wrap the centre. So I'm adding the glue to one little part, or one end of that centre strip. Again, that is 1 centimetre wide by around 5 or 6 centimetres in length. And I'm going to just bring it around the top. Now we're not going to glue the other side down as yet. We're going to leave that bit free. I'm just making sure that my loops keep a nice shape. And don't worry too much about the aesthetics of this middle part. It doesn't matter. You won't see that when we stick on the glitter heart. So leaving that piece now as it is, don't glue the other half down, just lay it down on the desk like that. And then we're going to take one of our streamers and we're going to fold it in half, but we're going to stagger the ends. So you're not folding it in half directly, you're going to just stagger them. So one's a little bit longer than the other. It's up to you how much difference you give these, but I've done them so there's about 1.5 inches or 2 difference. And then I'm going to do the other bit and then just lay them together so I can just see how they look. And then once you're happy with all of those different staggered lengths, you can then start sticking this first piece underneath the centre. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue on that halfway mark. I know it isn't directly halfway, but almost halfway. And I'm sticking it at the bottom between those 2 loops. So they come out from the bottom like that. I'm doing the same now with the second piece, so making sure they're still staggered, and then when they're as I want them, pop the glue on that outside fold and pop it underneath, slotting it underneath those 2 bottom loops, so there's enough space to wrap the centre to hold them in place. So I'm just going to split these streamers in half, so moving them out of the way so I can continue wrapping this centre strip around, and then that will hold those streamers all in place. Just make sure they're not getting in the way so that they hang nice and straight and neat. And then I'm going to cut off the excess ribbon. I need just enough to wrap the clip, so cutting off what I don't need, and then I'm going to take a lighter and heat seal that raw end, and then finish gluing this down underneath my clip. So opening up the clip and sticking down that last end, making sure the streamers are coming down neatly, and then just reshaping that bow if needed. Again, don't worry about the look of the middle because we will be now covering that up. We're going to add the heart to the centre and add the hearts to the end of the streamers now. So taking one of the larger glitter hearts for the centre of the bow. These are sticky backed, but I don't trust these on their own as they are, so I do use hot glue. So placing some hot glue across the middle like that, and then I'm going to stick that in the middle of my hair bow, and then I'm going to use some smaller hearts on the ends of the streamers. Now when I do the streamers, I like to use 2 hearts because obviously these streamers, when they're in the hair, they will naturally flip over from side to side. So yeah, I like to use double hearts on each end. So taking 2 of these smaller ones now, I'll just show you one and then I'll do the rest. So again, adding some hot glue to one of the smaller hearts and sticking it on the end of one of the streamers, and then taking a second heart and adding some more hot glue, not too much because you don't want it to seep out of the edges, and then we're going to sandwich that streamer or the end of that ribbon in between so that you can have a nice glittery heart on both sides. I'm going to continue now sticking those on all of the ends, and there is the finished love heart looped shaped bow with those lovely love hearts on all of those streamers now on both sides. So if they flip over as they would in the hair, you can see glitter heart on both sides. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you press the bell button, that will turn on notifications. I'll be back again soon. Bye!